He's kind of introduced, but I kind of wear two hats in this business. I am an investor too, just like you guys are, and I'm still actively buying and selling homes. And then I'm a mortgage lender on the long-term conventional side, getting buyers approved to go out and buy homes owner occupant. So I get to see both ends. And so as this market's changed, we're going back to maybe tactics that we did back in 2008, 9, and 10 to move homes. I've been in the lending business since 01. So we've kind of seen the slowdown before, and we're just going back to what I call old school of how we moved homes then. So I'm going to go before, start kind of even before I even think about selling the home. I'm going to put my investor hat on when I buy the home. And so if Alex, you want to pull up a letter, as soon as I buy a home, I go out and put my yard sign, my investor yard sign that says I'm an investor, I buy homes, and I put that in my yard just to let people know, hey, I buy homes in case someone else in the neighborhood wants to sell a home. I also have a letter that I hand to the neighbors, 5 right, 5 left, and 10 across. And it is an informational letter to them. So it's kind of a warmer knock on their door versus a salesy letter, but it's a knock on their door, one saying, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. If something comes up, let me know. I'm here, your friendly neighbor. But really there too is, hey, if you're looking to sell a home, or somebody wants to buy a home, hey, we're here to help too. So we are there as the sales pitch, but it's more of a warmer, hey, I'm your neighbor here, bringing up your neighborhood and here to help out in any way. So when I go into a neighborhood, I'm immediately thinking, can I buy any more homes in this neighborhood? And starting to get my name out there of when I go to sell it, hey, if you know anybody that wants to buy a home in this neighborhood, we'd be happy to show it to them. So I've already started the one, can I buy a home? And that warm, as soon as we go to sell it, if you know anybody. So that happens as soon as I buy it. Then, now that we're getting close to the rehab being done, I have another letter that's going to go to the same 5 right, 5 left, and 10 across. So the same people you talked to when you bought it, it's now, hey guys, we're done. Come to our open house on such and such day. Come look at the work we've done. And by the way, if you know anybody else that wants to sell a home, look at what we've done from start to end. And if you know anybody that wants to buy a home, bring them to the open house. So once again, you set it up on the buy, so it's not just this random knock on the door on the sale. Okay, so that's kind of the lead up before the home goes on the market. Then now this is kind of what we're doing different now that it's not as easy as just throwing a home on MLS and a bunch of buyers come. What is the hook? What is going to maybe make your home stand out versus the other homes on the market? So like I said, now I've taken off my home investor hat and now put my lender hat on. And these are different things that we do to hopefully be the hook for someone to buy your home and not the other home in the neighborhood. So now the real estate sign goes in the yard, the investor sign gets pulled out, and then we're also going to put a rider in the yard too. Yes, it may look plain. Yes, it may look ghetto, but it gets the phone to ring. I promise you. We put these signs out back in 8, 9, and 10. They didn't say, which we'll explain what a buy down is, but they said something different. It was a different hook back then, but it got people to call. So the hook that's kind of the popular thing right now, because rates have gone up so much, is it's called a buy down. And what all that you're simply doing is whatever that buyer qualifies for. They're getting the same 30-year fixed, whatever they've qualified for. They're not getting any different type of loan. So let's just say that they qualified for an FHA loan and the going rate is 7.75%. What you as the seller are allowed to do is essentially subsidize that payment. And you can choose if you want to subsidize it for 3 years, 2 years, or you can simply subsidize it for 1. Obviously, the longer you subsidize it, it's a bigger cost to you, but it's a bigger hook to the buyer. And so if you're doing a 3-2-1, if 7.75 was his 30-year fix that got locked in at, you're going to subsidize the first year the difference between what a payment would be at 7.75 and 3% less. So effectively, your buyer is going to feel like he got a 4.75 interest rate the first year. The second year, it would walk up a percentage, so it's going to feel like he has a 5.75. The third year, it's going to feel like he's got a 6.75. The fourth year, he's on to his 30-year fixed loan. So I would say the sales pitch or the wisdom now is you'll never get to the 7.75s. The market rates will have come down in the 4-year, so you're never going to get there. And we're going to help you keep that low interest rate, until rates come down. So that bandit sign is the hook to get people to call you on your home for sale. Now, there's a flyer that if you want, we will make up and we will do it specific to your home. This is just a general one that's out there, but it'll have the address, and then it will kind of show you how much that payment really changes to the buyer by you buying those rate down. And you can see in this example kind of how significant the savings is for that borrower. It's quite a bit. So you'll have the sign to get it to ring. You'll have the flyer to show them, how much a payment savings is. And hopefully that's enough of a hook. You can, if you're going to put it on MLS, you can put an agent's remark. Call me about the 3-2-1 buy down, whatever you want. So we'll put it in agent's remark. We'll put a flyer in the house, and we put a bandit sign in the yard to generate traffic. So we can sell the home. Okay. So now being the seller, okay, what's the cost to me? And it's the cost is how many years are you going to buy it down? And you see the monthly savings. It's basically that monthly savings is being put into an escrow account to pay the difference. So you can see, let's just take the 1-year buy down. They're saving $146 a month. Just take the 146 times it by 12, which is the 1757. If that's what you wanted to do, that's the cost to the seller, because you're essentially putting that 1757 in escrow, and we're taking that monthly savings every month to subsidize the payment. Because once again, remember, he's truly just on the 7.75 30-year fixed. So that's the program. I'll open it up to questions. And then if you want to get into the program, how to contact me, how to make flyers, how to even direct buyers. Hopefully if you're going to do this, you kind of do like builders do. Builders say, we're going to sell you the home, but in order to do this program, we want you to go through our preferred lender. And that's hopefully what you'll do. And then we'll do all these things to get you to help move this home.
Now, one of the things I found interesting when we first went over this, Clint, is that you guys may, with an agent, may use like a QR code, right? I have one of those. You mind if I share that?
Yep, go ahead and pull it up.
So I have this QR code that Clint showed me. Tell me about this. What is this?
Yep. So what that is, think it's going to be, if you want to participate in it, and it can be you as the investor, or it could be your agent, but it's going to be an app that I'm going to create, and you can use that QR code on any of your marketing material. So when you try and attract the buyer, that buyer will click on that QR code, and that QR code is going to go to whatever borrower that wants to maybe call on this. The QR code is going to go to the borrower. It's going to be an app on their phone. And anything that they do is, when they download this app on their phone, you as the seller or the agent are going to know, oh, wow, there's some activity on this sign that you put out. You'll know that someone's applied for the loan. So maybe you can't answer the phone always. It's just another way to track if this is working. Get your QR code out there. It's co-branded between you and me. And if there's any activity, anything at all, you're going to be in the know and I'm going to know if anything's working on this app. So it's just a way for us to team together on the communication. Borrowers can apply, whatever they do, you're going to be in the know.
No, I think that's fantastic. And the reason why when we were going over this, because everybody knows who I'm a lender. Clint's lending, but he's also fantastic investor. But let's look at the sales side of this. Why are we doing it? Because we want to sell more properties, right? We have things in inventory. We want to do a lot of things where we can sell our inventory, make our money, buy more investments, right? So one of the really, really fantastic agents in the area, Thomas Saunders, I had him come on. So Thomas, what do you think about this, right? He's like, well, dude, I use it. I was like, whoa. So Thomas, as the other person, the person that's trying to sell investors properties and they're trying to do things, tell me, have you had any success doing this with the 3-2-1 buy down or the 2-1 buy down, using these methods so these investors can see from the other side of the coin on the sales side? What kind of successes have you seen? Give us some stories.
Okay, well, now do you have the camera on my end? Because I want to show you a couple of things too.
Yeah, but you have to turn your camera's on, but you're available, but you have to turn it on.
Let's see here. Let me check it out. Well, I don't see the option of turning it on here. Normally I see that option. I don't see it. But that's fine. You know that slide? Can you send me that slide that that Clint showed with the sign, the bandit sign?
Sure.
So that's the sign I created. And then in the red, that's actually Eddie's brainstorming and adding some things to it. So you see the special 5% interest rate. Well, so what I did is you see how the top is kind of handwritten. And we, back in the day, back in 2008, we first, implemented something like this. We had handwritten signs. Look, the phone number is handwritten. It looks like it's all this is printed, but it looks handwritten except for the red, which is what Eddie wrote on. But I put that in a black handwritten deal special, and then I put a space, and then I put interest rate. So that in case an interest rate changes, right, which it likely will, you can actually handwrite that in, and then boom, throw your sign in the yard or wherever you put it. And so I did it that way, a special and then blank interest rate. And then if you don't put an interest rate in there, just a special interest rate, right? And so, but we discovered back in 2008, 9, and 10 that the handwritten sign actually got the phones to ring. So I'm still a bit old-fashioned. I like the phones. You've got to get those phones to ring to get the showings, to get the offers, to get the contracts. That's just how it works. Now with Clint's newer, the QR code and all that, I think that's great. I think you have some QR code stickers made, and once you have that created through Clint, and then you can just slap that sticker on your sign, on any kind of marketing piece, flyer at the house, whatever. And I think that's a good tool to use. But I don't get rid of the basics, which is you've got to get that phone to ring. You've got to answer that phone. You got to filter that buyer. And I think, getting that buyer to Clint is one way of filtering it. Back in when the first turn, big, turn in the market in 2008, I had a mortgage license too. So I worked with Clint and Eddie back in those days, and I filtered the buyers myself. So with that loan officer, mortgage experience, and then I handed it off to Clint back in those days. We had so many calls coming in, and that's what you have to do. You've got to get the phones to ring. There's no real magic pill, but what I'll tell you this: most real estate agents out there just aren't going to do this. The builders are doing this, and you Alex, you asked about the success. Well, I can tell you the builders are breaking expectations as far as themselves. So what we need to do is not reinvent the wheel. We need to use what's working. And that's why we come up with this. Back in 2008, we came up with something different because the rules were different. We had a $500 total move-in type deal, seller make the first 2 payments. You add all that stuff up, that's very, very similar to what the buy down is as far as cost. It's just a little bit differently structured because the rules are different. And the lenders, this is coming from Clint and really the builder preferred lenders, they're pushing this. This is a strategy that's working. People are payment sensitive. They're interest rate sensitive. The market is in shock due to the interest rates climbing. So what we're doing is we're offering something to those buyers that are on the fence that either job transfer, been waiting to buy. Maybe they're waiting longer for interest rates to change. Don't wait any longer. Let us help you get that interest rate down now, buy now, and then when the rates change down the road, you can refinance. And that's really the strategy and the hook. Clint said earlier, get that hook out there. You've got to throw a hook out there to get those phones to ring, to get those buyers their attention. And if you just have a regular real estate sign out there, then you're just gonna be like everyone else. But if you do something that the other agents aren't doing, you're gonna bring that attention to that property, and you're going to get the phones to ring. You can also put this out in an ad. So look at your newspapers. Back in the day, we did green sheet ads and other type of ads. But one key change from now versus then, the price point. Our price point as investors are much, much higher than what they were back in 2008, 9, and 10. So we're different. We're dealing with a different type of buyer in some regard. The buyer initially back in 2008 was, how do I get in for as little out of pocket as possible? So what do? We responded to that, and we sold a lot of houses. Today, the buyer's like, how do I buy a house and get my interest rate, get my payment down? And that's what we're responding to today. And we're going to grab that attention that the other agents aren't doing, and we're going to sell houses. We've done it before. We know what's coming, and we're going to do it again.
No, that's fantastic insight, and really appreciate you you letting everybody know on the other side of things, because sometimes on these calls, when we're always talking about math and rate and stuff like that, like, oh, okay, well, it's just the lender stuff again. But hearing from someone who's actually going out and selling all these investors' properties with great success is valuable. I'm going to give me like about 30 seconds. I'm going to turn on everybody to be allowed to to talk. I want you guys two experts right here, really wanting to take time out of their busy schedule to answer questions about how they're doing things, maybe something that's specific about the rate, anything specific about the deal, anything that you can put into your business plan of how to implement this today. Because I know I see some of the names on here. I'm telling you guys, don't miss this opportunity to talk to two people that are having great success with this, especially if you have inventory in the pipeline today, and if you have inventory coming up in the pipeline tomorrow. Okay, so as you guys have been allowed to speak, you notice that you're muted. So if you do want to say something, just unmute yourself and ask Clint or Thomas something, and see how we can get things more specific for you to make it easier to implement in your business plan today. Did anybody have any questions that you have for Thomas or Clint?
Can I put something out there for everyone?
Sure.
Okay, so to my point, where we're dealing with a different type of price point, I've got some very high-end investment deals that are on the market. For example, $1 million houses, anything 500 and above. A lot of times, some neighborhoods, they're not going to let you put that extra sign out. So if you take that sign that I created, and you can actually cut, and I've done this, you cut the top off where that line is, and then you cut the bottom phone number off. And all you have is get your lower down payment with a special interest rate 3-2-1 buy down. You just leave that in there, and that now you've created a sign writer. You can actually stick that on top of your sign. And so instead of having a separate phone number up there, you have a message up there. A lot of realtors will put up their beautiful interior. You know what? We don't need that. Put this up there, get the phones to ring, and you can make a sign writer for more of those higher end properties as well.
Actually, we do have somebody. I'm able to comment on the chat, so I'll comment here. Do you have Spanish speakers to handle the mortgage loans, Clint?
Yep, of course. You have to in Texas. Yeah, I mean, half my processor yeah, so that's basically we do. The phone number that gets put on there, it routes through my team, which everyone on my team is fluent. I'm not fluent, but I can get by. So if I answer and they're speaking Spanish, I can do loan apps in Spanish also.
And that person had an issue with using chat. They just made a Q&A response. All right, awesome. So just to kind of recap here to get some ideas flowing, you guys understand, everything about the buy down. Clint, could you go through that successful deal you mentioned in the meeting the other day about how you tell them what the house was, how you utilized this, and what happened after you utilized this to sell your home?
Okay. So and I had a higher end, it's Cleveland, but a higher end home out in Cleveland. So it went on the market into July, and it was a good rehab. I was getting good feedback, but I just couldn't get anybody to make offers. And I watched from late July all the way through now, just rates tick up and up and up, and I could see showings going down and down. And I just said, we've got to do something. I've got to move this home and get it off the book. So I implemented this buy down immediately. So what we did is I didn't have time. I didn't put the bandit sign out, but we did I broadcasted an open house, and I physically sat at this open house and was able to generate traffic through the home. I had the 2-1 buy downs in the home, and had buyers come through, and I walked each buyer through this buy one, down one. And we got a buyer that came through that was interested, loved the home. And I sold the hook while they were there. We wrote they liked it, as most people did. I feel the lower payment was the hook that got them to push them over the top to sign a contract. We signed a contract Monday, last Monday. We're already through inspections. I feel I'm on the downhill side, and I sold a home that just would not move from July. It took 1 weekend of really saying, okay, I've got to put some effort in and not rely on MLS to sell a house. And it worked. I don't think that it's going to work every weekend, but the hook is going to get somebody to act on your home if they like it. If they're, for the most part, what's I think holding people back is payment. And we offered the 2-1. I didn't have to go the 3-2-1, but on that big of a home, that 2-1, the first year it dropped their payment $600. So it was a significant payment savings. And we got it. We moved the home. And so every home that I have coming on, I have one coming on today. It's in agent remarks. We're going to blanket the neighborhood too with the 2-1 flyer. We're going to put them on every mailbox or in the neighborhood. We've did the 5 right, 5 left, and we got the bandit sign. Hope to have a good show out this weekend, and cross our fingers. We sign a contract first weekend out of the gate, which is probably not normal now in this market. I'm okay giving the money for the buy down because I understand every day that home sits, it costs me money. So if I can get a contract sooner than later, it's not costing me as much as I think it might be because I'm moving the home quicker.
No, that's awesome. And just to let everybody know, it looks like on the webinar setting, they've moved everybody's chat to off. I turned it back on just in case you continue want to chat. So with that, right there, you have this professional investor that had some failures selling a house. He's now successful using this. Does everybody have any questions about how to implement this in your strategies as something that you can even bring buyers in? It's not a guarantee that they're going to take the 3-2-1 or the 2-1 buy down, but getting people in, does it make sense on how to strategize this into your business plan on how to increase visualization, getting your agents on board? And I'll tell you the truth, folks, right now, if you guys are not using an agent, I think you should give Thomas a call as well. He'll appropriately direct you on probably how fast. Thomas sold my house in 3 hours. Okay, so why would he definitely help you out? Okay,
Above asking price too.
Above asking price, yeah, in 3 hours in that market. Okay, so just get with a good team like Clint and Thomas to get you guys what you need to be to grow in this business. Remember, there is never a bad market in investment. Okay, it's how people pivot in their business plans that make them successful. So we're trying to give you the opportunity of showing people that have pivoted correctly on how they are selling their inventory and buying more houses and still making a profit in any market. So before we end this call today, does anybody have any questions? You have the chat open. You can unmute yourself and ask a question directly to Thomas or Clint or myself. Does anybody have anything they need to help grow their business plan today?
I'll chime in one thing. It's not a question, but I know, and you probably heard Eddie said this before. Things are slowing down, but home sales are not going to go to zero. So let's just, whatever they're going to slow down to, you just got to be one of those sales. So what are you going to do to make your home that sell? And so me as an investor, I've pivoted, and when I go on a buy appointment, I've already factored in the cost that I'm going to offer the 2-1 buy down. So it's when I'm making my offers, I already know I'm going to offer it. So there's my pivot. I know I'm going to have to use this pitch to sell a home where before I didn't.
No, it makes sense. And as markets change, as rate changes, as all these things change, as they did, just changed in the other direction a few years ago. You made the change and you pivoted and you capitalized on the market in which you were investing in. So these are all great tools. If you haven't noticed in the chat, I've put Clint's information and Thomas's information. I'm going to redeploy that information right here again, so you guys have it. Call them, text them, email them. You can reach out to me as well at just info@jetlending.com, or call or text our phone number at 281-872-7800. But I will finish, since nobody's as boisterous today as I would hope. Clint, verbally, how do they get a hold of you? Tell us how they reach you.
Okay. So verbally, pick up the phone. I'm available. Just call. That is the best thing. The numbers, Thomas or Alex has it in there. I'll pick up. It doesn't matter. We'll walk through the strategy of how to implement this on any of your homes you're trying to sell. I understand, like I said, the investor side, the lending side. I can walk you through it from start to end. It's I can help you from A to Z on this investment stuff.
Awesome. And Thomas, for those who are listening and interested in getting in touch with you and possibly getting an agent who understands how to sell houses in any market, how do they reach out to you?
My cell phone, just call 713-819-9145. I live and die by this number. I answer my calls. I return my calls. I don't miss calls. Everyone gets a call back. It's very difficult in this world when you get all these spam calls. I answer every spam call. It's just you never know where that buyer's coming from. They come from out of state. So call my number is the best way to get me. You're welcome to text me. This is my 20th year of selling real estate, particularly investment real estate. So, I've been around. I've been through some of these downturns and these slow months and sometimes slow years. And I will take care of you. And if you have any questions, give me a call.
Awesome. And again, I'm Alex. I'm the Senior Vice President over here at Jet Lending. You go to jetlending.com. You can email info@jetlending.com. You can call or text 281-872-7800. We'll get you right away. You'll be getting a recording of this call to kind of go over everything. But we really hope you enjoyed today. We hope you learned something. We'll keep this content coming your way. Clint, Thomas, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Alex.
You have a great day.
Bye.